had that glow. You know, the one you have when you meet the love of your life at a wedding in Hawaii, and he wants to make you his forever. The one you have when you know that nothing can go wrong at 36. Well, it only took 3 little words to dim my light. I felt like I was jumped in a game, given these colors, the color pink. I soon learned there was nothing pretty in pink. Managing the ebbs and flows after a breast cancer diagnosis was never ending. Our life together was just beginning, but we had no future in sight. I'm now standing here in my chemo glow, willing to share my moments, because I soon learned that the glow doesn't define me. I define the glow. Hi guys, welcome to Chemo Glow, where the glow doesn't define me, I define the glow. Like, I'm really excited tonight because we just got some good news right before we came on. So I'm going to try to define my glow and shut it down just a little bit, just a tad. But I want to thank you guys for joining our live event. Please check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I did my first Instagram on Saturday. Don't know how you do it. Hold that camera in front of your phone in front of your face. I'm used to being in front of my camera and actually having all my equipment. Yeah, it's just you and your phone. I'm gonna have to work on that, but I'm gonna call it my glowgram. So get ready for me to come up, show up, and shine with my glow. Again, please share and subscribe. Check out our podcast, guys. You know, we have 2 seasons out there. We're going on our 3rd season. You can find us everywhere. And if you want to share your glow with us, please email us at chemoglow@gmail.com. I want to thank all my guests from last week. Boy, that episode, Healing Through Ink, was so great. We're actually having a really great response from Healing Through Ink. And I just want to thank Haley from Halo Healing Arts Lounge and Dr. Harper from Graper Harper Cosmetic Surgery. And of course, our thrivers, our survivors, Michelle, Benji, and Cassandra for sharing their stories. It was so great to meet them and continue to share your glow. Well, I've been sharing my glow. I happen to be featured in this little newsletter for UNC. It was a question and answer with Regina Jones. They were like, "What is the podcast?" You know what I said? Go to YouTube, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, check me out, share my link, find out what we're about. But I was happy to be in this little newsletter, and I'm excited about tonight as well. Well, August came, September went, and then October, Pinktober. You know, I helped out the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event. I had no idea that I was actually going to be on the stage with 2 wonderful men that allowed me to grab the mic. Well, they didn't allow me. I took the mic because, you know, if a mic is in front of me, I'm going to go ahead and thrive and get up there and chat a little bit. But they allowed me to be on the stage with them, and they are actually going to come on Chemo Glow. So on Wednesday next week, Rod Carter, he is the evening anchor for CBS17.com. You can check us out. You can check them out. He is there on the evening show, Raleigh, Durham, Fayetteville. You know I'm from Fayetteville, so you can see him on all those stations. Make sure you check him out. And also, who else is going to be on there? Okay, Matt Murphy. He actually put me on the spot. He's with Pulse FM. Matt Murphy is the morning host. You guys ride in with him. He is so funny, but we actually had a great conversation on the stage about men's health and also how are they defining their glow? Because it's not just about like the chemo glow, it's about how you define your glow. And my guest tonight is doing just that. She is defining her glow. Hurry up and wait. If you do not have her book, Some of y'all can't pick it up in some spaces, but we're going to talk about that. But Type A Guide to Cancer. She is on tonight, and I'm so excited that I am actually a fan. So I'm going to try my best to host this show. Go ahead and come on, Miss Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
How are you doing?
I'm well. What an introduction. Thank you so much. I hope I can live up to that hype.
You are amazing. I've been like low key stalking you since you've been on Lincoln's Beauty
Yeah.
with Mimi. It's been great, but you answered me as soon as I said, "Hey, would you like to share your glow?" And you were like, "Yes."
I mean, you're
And
like you're like I'm just attracted to your energy. I feel like we're the same. So there was no way I could deny. And by the way, I don't think you stalked me hard enough because I'm from like Zebulon, right? Like
yeah.
you know. Like I'm from
You,
Zebulon. I was born at Rex Hospital in
oh
Raleigh.
my
My
goodness.
family is from Rex in Fayetteville.
Are you serious? And how
Yes,
about I
like
stay about 15 minutes away from Zebulon right now?
oh my
I'm in
god.
Granville County.
It is such a small world. Like really though, like my family's from like St. Paul, Fayetteville, Rex, bro. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's
So you,
crazy.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
so crazy.
We're
And the
family.
fact
We're probably related.
we're
Because
probably related somewhere in here.
if you're from those two cities, if you're from St. Paul or Zebulon, you're related.
You're pretty
That's
close
it.
to being related.
That's it.
And
You're like my
anybody
fourth
who's on
cousin.
here from there understands what we're talking about.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, Lauren. Okay, I will do the interview. I promise I will do the interview.
Okay.
But guys, she's already sold out at Target already.
I am
And
too excited. I just text my mom. I just text my mommy.
our producer let us know that like right before we came on. I was like, "What? Yes." You see all my
That's
stickies? You
that's so,
see?
I love it. I love it. Look, I'll show you. I got my little thing right here. Here's my this is how type A I am with my pencil binder, with my glitter divider. Where is the camera? My glitter
Right
dividers,
there, right?
all the grants, all the information, all my path reports. It lives right next to me, right here.
Oh, I love that. And the fact that this book right here, when I read it, I'm 10 years out, right? 10 years out, and I could relate. And I wish I had this. And actually, I have some scans that are coming up soon. And I turned in here. What do you ask when you
Yeah,
have a scan? Who's going to be doing it? How long? Can I take this? Can I take that? This is a wonderful book. I'm going to find
thank
out where
you.
my camera is. I promise I will.
Thank you so much. You're so kind.
Well, tell us a little bit about before we jump into the book. We are going to be doing a giveaway of this book. And all you have to do is do hashtag type A guide to cancer. All of it. Hashtag type A guide to cancer. You just put it in the comment box. If you do it more than once, you're just showing love because it all you only get put in the thing one time. But if you want to keep typing it, that is fine. All right. Last time my producer typed in Chemo Glow. So guess what? We won the book and then had to give it away,
There we
because we were so
go.
excited, right? We were so excited. But you do so many other things. So
I
before we
do.
even jump into the book, what were you doing like right before you were diagnosed with cancer? Like, what were you doing?
Oh gosh. So, yeah, right before I was diagnosed with cancer, I mean, of course I'd gotten the job I wanted. I changed industries from logistics to software. So, I'm a minority in business to business SaaS. I'm a woman in technology. I mean, it was a big shift. And it was great and I was learning a lot, but I was talking to my best friend and I said, "Man, I really want to start a business." And she was like, "Well, you'll figure it out. It'll be right in front of your face." And it was maybe 2 days later, maybe 40 hours later, and my son was right in my face. And I was like, "You didn't lie. Like
Oh
this
my
this is
goodness.
my everything. This is my all day. This is my everyday." And so I just, I thought on a name and I came up with Blended Kids. My son is, biracial,
Mm-hmm.
and I just started, I wanted to create a safe space for
Mm-hmm.
parents of multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-religion, um,
Mm-hmm.
background, and just so it's for the parents of the children, but for anyone honestly that wants to raise inclusive, happy, healthy children, right? So that this is for white, brown, black, anyone,
Mhm.
anyone across the world who wants to come together. So even if you have white children, but you're a parent of a white child and you don't know how to talk to them about race, this is a
Mhm.
safe space for you too. And so
Wow.
what I do is, Blended Kids is the whole shebang, and Life with Little Ones is the podcast within that, where I interview mothers, fathers, same sex, different religion. I interviewed a mother who is a mother of two toddlers, and she did it alone. She's a single mother. She did IVF by
Yeah.
herself. She's a medical professional, but she wanted children, and she
Yeah.
wanted to share that. She had so much love. She wanted to share her love. And she was like, I'll figure myself out later. I'll find my match later. I want to give my
Mhm.
love to my children, and I want children. And that is so admirable, because this is hard. Being a
It
parent is
is.
hard. And to decide to do that by yourself is so strong. So I just really, really admired that. I mean, I love getting to interview fathers. They're less likely to step up, but yeah, just teaching people nomenclature and how to be sensitive, because everything starts at home, right?
Everything
If
starts at home,
if you
and
raise your kids with love and information, then there will be no more hate.
there
So,
we go.
just that little part that I can carve out, and just, get the information out there, because I'm learning too. I interview parents of children with disabilities, different, they're differently abled and things like that. And so again,
Mhm.
I'm learning every day, because I know the challenges that my son is going to go through.
Yes.
Um, Even though he's biracial, he's going to be a black man in America, and I know those challenges, but I don't know the challenges of all children. And
Yeah.
I just want my child to be as inclusive and understanding and loving as he can possibly be. And
And
that's
you
that.
were actually, looking at this holiday over here. Tell us a little bit about what you were working on, because 'cause you're still working on it, but
Yeah.
recognizing this as a actual holiday. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I just want a blended kids day. Again, if you say blended, that means so many things. That's a family unit. That's, if you look inside yourself, you could be a combination of 8 different races, right? And
Yeah.
you want to, if you're an indigenous person, any of those things, you want to respect and pay homage to all of those things. Any religions, all of those things. And so these children that are these beautiful mixtures of cultures and races and things like that. I just think the term blended kids brings that all together. And I
Mhm.
really want them to be, nationally recognized. There is no holiday for blended children. And, subsequently, when we don't celebrate our differences or look inside of us and see what we're made out of, then you're
Mhm.
kind of forced into a box. You're forced to choose. And I don't
Yes.
want my son to have to choose anything. I want him to be whatever he is, revel in that, succeed in that, be successful, and be recognized for all the differences that he has. And
Yes.
I think that, when you, for example, if you have a child who is white and black, if you don't have a box on that sign up sheet at school that has biracial or multiracial or what have you, then they have to pick.
Yes.
And you're not just, no one is just one thing.
No.
I'm
And
a
for
mother, sister, daughter, I'm a wife, you know what I mean? I'm black, I'm a woman. Like, I'm not
it's
just one thing.
I'm not just a cancer survivor. I'm not just a
Yeah.
thriver. I'm not just, um, it's so many times we put ourselves in that box. Now, my kids are very fair skinned.
Mhm.
And every time somebody, I remember I was actually at a Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk, and I was with my husband's cousin, right? And we're walking, and they assumed that I was not my kid's mother. They assumed that his cousin was, and she was like, "No, that's their mom," because they're very
Yeah.
fair skinned, or they
Yeah.
assume, you know, what my husband is, and when you see him, you try to figure out what he is, but it's like this box that I feel that my kids are gonna be placed in
Yeah.
because of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
So that is such a great That's a great thing to be doing out there. But like you said, we have to stop all this hate against ourselves
Yep.
because they're already going to be put in a box out there in the community. Let's
But see,
teach
that's the
them.
thing too. One of the things that, it's always bothered me, and I kind of came across in the interviews,
Mm-hmm.
because I also interview people who are biracial, or the product of these integrated marriages and things like that. And I spoke with someone who's her interaction, someone was getting nearly violent with her when they asked what she was. And she's like, I'm a
Mm.
human, I'm an American, I'm a woman. And some people don't care to answer that. Some people may not have the luxury of knowing both of their parents. Maybe they're adopted, maybe they don't know their lineage. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you interrogate someone like that, it's incredibly insensitive. I mean, I know we're all curious,
Mm-hmm.
we all have questions, but put them in a sack and take them to bed. I don't know what to tell you. Like, no one owes you any kind of answer. Like, no one owes you anything. So, and before cancer, you would not catch me in the street without 24 inches and 3 bundles. Okay. Like, I mean, there was one time, this is so ridiculous. I knew I had gotten to my ideal hair length.
Mm-hmm.
Not my hair. When my hair got caught in my seatbelt, and my boyfriend at the time, which is my husband, had to like help me cut it out, like because I clicked it, like click it for safety, and my hair got caught in my seatbelt. So that like, and so just to have that like, and I liked, I was 1B Brazilian, so humidity resistant. Hello. And so it's straight in the rain. It's straight in the summer. Like, it is bone straight. I'm not sweating because I'm not going outside. My
Yeah.
head is literally, it's like sitting up here. But everybody, they just be like, "What are you?" And I'm like, "I'm African American." "What are you?" "I'm black."
Okay.
You couldn't be. You can't be. But why couldn't I be? Because you're in not so many ways saying that you think I'm attractive, and you think I'm so attractive that I couldn't be African American. And how insulting.
Yes. Yes.
When
It's,
you realize the basis of someone's question and you just shut it down and you're just not even going to entertain that, some people don't like that. And so I definitely understood where the person I was interviewing was coming from, talking about like the person getting very aggressive with her, just like really wanting to know, and like where it starts with an innocent curiosity. And then, like, if you answer the question correctly, would have gone into maybe an attraction. But
yeah.
when you're standing up for yourself and that person doesn't like that, then it's like, okay, then I definitely know you don't rock with me. Like, I definitely know this is not going to go anywhere. But also, like, why inherently do you think this is your right? Like, that's crazy. So
Um.
again, when we make this space for the children to grow up, like
Yeah.
identifying themselves and however they want to identify, and whatever, instead of forcing someone into a box, then I think we're going to have a lot more understanding of a community. So,
Because you are currently living in South Carolina.
yeah, in Charleston.
In Charleston. I've been to Charleston. There is a great divide in Charleston.
There
Like,
sure is.
I was at a beautiful coffee house and I looked across the street and I was like, wow, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like down the street, a great divide in Charleston is a
Yeah.
conversation that needs to be had. And I actually went down there when there was the church shooting at the time. So
Mm.
I was down there at that time, trying to just take some time away. But the culture there is rich.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it's good, but that we definitely have some issues. There's a lot. It's I'll just classify it as like aggressive gentrification right now.
mm-hmm,
A lot of money coming into the town for whatever reason. A lot of people, snowbirds wanting to come down. That's fantastic.
mm-hmm,
The growth is great, but
yeah,
it needs to be mitigated and it needs to be responsible, and it hasn't been handled as such recently. And
mm-hmm,
so we're in a situation.
yeah, yeah.
And
And it's
so,
like that
I'll
in a
never
lot
stop
of
talking about
places.
it. Yeah, I'll never stop talking about it. Like,
Well,
I won't.
that's why I so admire you because you are so open and honest on your videos, on your TikToks, on everything, and you
Yeah,
just talk about it and you put it out there. And guys, I know you thought we were just talking about the book, but absolutely not. When
yeah.
I tell you
There's
I
a lot to
read
talk
this
about.
book, and I called you and you were at work, you was like, "Give me 15
Yeah.
minutes and I'll call you back," because you touch in all these things in this book. And it's truly a guide. And I don't think people know that you can write in this book. It's a nice
Mhm.
guide. You have the questions to the answers for caregivers, for doctors, for being an advocate and saying, "You're fired."
Yeah.
Again,
Yes. Yes. You are.
that's one
You
of
are
my
fired.
favorite. You can fire your doctor. Yes, you
Mhm.
can, because they need to be on your team, the A team.
Yep.
So it's
Every
so
appointment is an interview. Every
every
single one.
appointment is an interview, and people don't understand that. People don't understand that it is a interview. So
Yeah.
it's so important that you understand what your rights are and what you can do. And this type A guide to cancer, this book right here will help you understand it. And guys, when you read it, I need you to do the reviews too. Like, you got some great
Yes.
reviews out there. Don't just read it. Actually put your review out there. So
Yeah.
you have some really, everybody is like this, they wish they would have had it when they went through. Even if you've already been through and you're still in that window where we have to go to appointments. We still
Yeah.
have to be seen every 6 months or every 3 months. So it's
Yep.
so important. And you got 5 stars over here. Like,
Hey, I mean, somebody likes what I'm doing. I love that. I'm so
somebody like it.
appreciative. I'm so
Well,
appreciative. I will say, again, I'm a mommy's girl. I mean, it's like 99% for my mom, 97.5% for my dad, right? Like, I love my parents. I love my parents like to life. But I gave my manuscript to my mom and my husband. Those are the
mhm.
two people, because my dad is I am 100% my dad. Literally
Yeah.
now we have the same haircut right now. His hair is maybe a little bit longer than mine, but I'm 100% him. Like my mom's a little more reserved, and my husband is a little more reserved. And
You
so
know
I
what?
gave
Your
what?
your husband, I had a picture of him, but I'm pretty sure we can pull it up if we go back to Amazon and you click on her book on Amazon. They give you the first couple of pages,
Oh
and there
yeah,
is
our
a
wedding
beautiful
picture.
picture of you and your husband. How long have you guys been married?
January will be 4 years.
4 years. And
Yep, and we
how
just
long?
celebrated 7. We're at like 7.5 years together now.
Oh my goodness. And how old is your son?
He's 2.5.
Two and a half. And how long has it been since you heard those words, "You have cancer"?
Oh, almost 14 months.
Almost 14
We're
months.
2 days
So
shy of
much.
14 months. Yeah.
2 days shy of 14 months. Those
Mm-hmm.
words right there. Oh, there
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, that's my whole family, my whole unit right there. You see that? That's about 20 inches right there. Hello. Hello. There she is. I think
Oh
that
my.
track is somewhere in this house still. It's somewhere
Hey,
around here. It's somewhere
mine's
around.
is in a box. I call it birthday hair. When I tell my husband I'm getting birthday hair, he just be like, "Okay." It-
Hey, from now on, it's just gonna be the wigs. I got gifted some really, really nice wigs when, I've got such a great community around me. It takes a village, and
Mhm.
they're great.
You talk about your healing village in your book, so I guess we should start talking about this book. What
Sure.
made you write this book?
Well, I'm gonna be really transparent. I
Mhm.
don't love reading. I like
Mhm.
reading. I love books. I literally have a library in the house.
Yeah.
I grew up reading a lot. My mom is a big reader. And my parents made a deal with me. If I ever wanted to watch like a really scary movie, I would
Mhm.
have to read the book first, and then they let me watch it, like starting at like 8. So like I've read every single like Stephen King book, and
Mhm.
I've seen every single Stephen King movie. And then if it got to like anything scarier or like rated R, my mom was like, okay, well, we're gonna read it at the same time. Like me and my mom
Yeah.
had a book club. And so like I read a lot when I was little. And then I never had an aspiration to write a book or anything like that. And then, once I got diagnosed, I was like, man, I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of
Mhm.
thoughts, right? And even though I anyone who reaches out to me, with the same stage or anything like that. I'm like,
Mhm.
look, I've been through it. We got this. I always say we, because I am here for you,
Mhm.
everybody, everyone. Like, I'm your best friend here. Like, I'm gonna be there for
Yeah.
you. But we got this. Like, look, I did it. I definitely didn't think I could. I'm not gonna perpetrate. Like, I was terrified every single day until after my double mastectomy. Like, I still
Yeah.
thought I was just gonna die. It was just a really, really hard journey. I cried every single day, and so I really just needed to get those feelings out. I just, I felt betrayed. I felt betrayed by
Yes.
my body, by society, by the rules I had followed. Right, like just all these things. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to get cancer. It doesn't run in my family. What is happening? I honestly didn't think that was possible.
Yeah.
I had to educate myself. I did not think you could get cancer unless you did something to get it or it ran in your family. I did not
Mhm.
think that was a thing. So with all those feelings and all those thoughts, I just started journaling, and it was twofold. It was the journaling and getting those feelings and emotions out, but also, I looked around, I looked to my right, I looked to my left, and I only knew two women who had breast cancer under the age of 55, maybe, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
To my knowledge, because I say that, and you never know who has what. People cold
Yeah.
gap, they keep their hair. Not every patient looks the same at all. But
Yes.
I didn't personally know anyone who had divulged that they had breast cancer as a Black woman under the age of 55 or 60.
Yes.
And my best friend, I talk about her in the book, Dr. Ebony Hilton, she always says the opposition of fear is information.
Mm.
And that's really powerful, because again, if you don't see anyone that looks like you, then you're the one.
Yes.
And my grandmother's right here, and God is right here. And he told me, you're the one. You need to talk about it. And whatever came from it, I told my husband, I was like, are you going to support me writing this book? 100. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like, he is my biggest cheerleader.
Mhm.
But my thing is, I wanted to help one person.
Yeah.
I wanted to help one woman not feel alone, because when I was diagnosed, I felt alone. I felt like I had done something wrong. I wrote in the book, I felt like I was in trouble. I was scared to tell my mom. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be in so much trouble. I have
And
cancer. I'm going to be in so much trouble. Like,
And you even talked about being left behind. Like people's
yeah,
lives still go on. I was 36 when I was diagnosed, and every support group that I went to at the time, it was 55 and older.
yeah,
I was newly married,
yep,
was engaged when I found out. And you walked in and got a mammogram, just like I walked in and got a mammogram. And what did they say? What are you doing here? You're too
you're too
young.
young to be. How? What's your birthday? One more
Yeah.
time. Your birthday again.
Mhm.
Are you Lauren? Your birthday? Like, well, first off, because black don't crack. So they were like, you're not 34. And I was like, but I am. I know I'm a
But I
very
am.
small. One of my friends calls me Polly Pocket. It's so funny. I'm like, okay, I'm not that small. I'm like 5'4". It's not, but like really though, it's like, yes, I'm 34. I'm Lauren. I'm here for my gold star. Please. Thank you. Please scan me.
Yes.
Tell me there's nothing there, and let's all go about our week.
Mhm.
And yeah, so yeah, demanded it, had to, but yeah, that's it. I looked around, I kind of Googled, right? Like Charleston, like asked people, asked the two women I knew, they, because they're, they're local.
Yeah.
Um, you know, friends of my husband's, now very close friends of mine, but they're white and they didn't know any Black women that had been diagnosed. Like, I was just looking for something. And I'll
Yeah.
never forget. It was, oh God, and it was I was diagnosed on September 4th.
Mhm.
And then it was all the pets, the CTs, all the testing, all that. Rush, rush, rush. Then it was IVF. Rush, rush, rush. Did that in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And then October 8th, I started chemo, right? 8th or the 9th, because I know I had IVF the first day and then chemo the second day. It's a
Mhm.
blur at this point, which I kind of feel bad about saying, but time heals
But
all,
it's true.
right?
Time
Yeah.
I actually, because of your book, I was reading it and we went through the same exact steps and stages. Even from the port when you said, "Well, you have to stay awake because you gotta turn your head to make sure." And I was like, I forgot all about that because I was like, why in the heck am I awake for you guys
I need
to
you to
put
knock
this?
me out.
Yeah, like put me
I
all the
asked
way
for
out.
that immediately.
Like, I need
I don't
you
wanna do this. Thank
to
you.
knock me out. But
Yeah.
even that's why I named this live Hurry Up and Wait, because everything's rush, rush, rush. And then they
Yep.
say, okay, we'll call you with the appointment. And in your book, you said, yeah, no.
No, you won't. You need help sanitizing stuff for COVID? You need help turning on the lights? I told that to the receptionist. I was
Uh-huh.
like, "Look, you don't know me, but you really will get to know me very well. If you
Mm-hmm.
need help, because this was a Friday, and they're like, "Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, we'll call you back." You're gonna call me at 11 a.m. on Friday, tell me I have cancer, and then just tell me to just sit tight?
Mm-hmm.
You just uprooted my whole world.
Yeah.
Like, how do I look at my son today?
Mm.
Like, I was looking, you know how your phone gives you memories,
Oh.
and I was trying to find a picture to post for the cancerversary,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no pictures of myself from that day because I
Yeah.
couldn't. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, there was no selfies, there was no nothing, not even first thing in the morning. Like, maybe I just knew, but no, I didn't know. I was really caught off guard. But
Yeah.
the only pictures I took that day were of my son in the bathtub.
Oh.
And I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna post these." But, yeah, I mean, it's just like, you thought that's how it was gonna go, and by the end of the day, I had an appointment for, like, 3 days later.
Yeah, that hurry up and wait thing, that is the
Mm-mm.
worst, waiting after you're being told, like, you changed my whole world. After you said, "You're too young. You're too young to have cancer." I'm like, "Wait a minute." And then you tell me, "Oh, you need to come back." And I actually got a second opinion. I actually fired my first group of doctors and got some great doctors over at UNC, so Cancer
Nice.
Hospital. But that
Yeah.
is so important, and you talk about that in your book. One of the things that I would like to definitely talk about, we already talked about being felt like you were left behind. Some of your friends are no longer your friends anymore. I used to
Yep.
call them snowflakes because they just melt away,
Yeah,
and that's
I
good
like that. Yeah.
because, I didn't need some of them, but some of them showed up, the ones
Yeah.
I didn't expect. And you say in your book that maybe they don't know how to help you, or maybe it reminds them of something, or maybe they're in fear of something.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to get through cancer, the last thing you can do is muscle up that extra to give to someone else when you're just trying
Right.
to live, because you feel like you're what? You're
Yeah.
going to die, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're going to die. And tell us a little bit about AYA, because I realized I was part of that group, even though it's 10 years later. Tell
Yeah.
us what AYA is.
Yeah, so AYA is adolescent and young adult cancer. It's, a subsect of the cancer community. And so it's anyone who's diagnosed between the ages of 15 and 39.
Mhm,
Again, a lot of people who are AYA don't know they're AYA because,
mhm.
like, I honestly think that I said that to my oncologist and he was like, "What?" And then it like took him a second because he just doesn't, number one, see a ton of AYA breast cancer patients,
Yeah.
but um they really don't call it that, right? You call it juvenile cancer
Mhm.
or, childhood cancer or cancer. That's
Yeah.
it. But it disproportionately affects AYA people who are diagnosed because, like, think about it. Like, I made a reel about this the other day. Like, imagine, and this is, there's never going to be a best case, but I try to find silver linings. But imagine if you're diagnosed at like 23 years old.
Mm,
So you've graduated college, let's say you took out loans, and then you are trying to enter the workforce, but then you're diagnosed. Hopefully you're still on your parents' insurance if you were lucky enough to, if you were fortunate enough to have that, or, you're on the sponsored healthcare if you were, fortunate enough to get that. But so hopefully you have healthcare. That's going to be a number one concern. But then
mhm.
how do you live? You're trying to enter the dating world. You're trying to
Yes.
navigate post college. You're all by yourself. Like, you're trying to figure that out. So thank God I have a husband. Thank God, it's a 50-50. It's a toss up that I already had a son, right? So
Mhm.
if I am never able to have another child, I have a son that is the light of my life.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, like, I opened the book like I was a hot mess express, right? Like, warming bar stools, eating an apple a month, like
Mhm.
popping multivitamins with ibuprofen and heading on to work, like when I was
Yeah.
25, right? Like after like a pretty serious night out. And so, like, let's say you're diagnosed at 23. All you have are your friends who are getting married, who are finding boyfriends, who are having kids, all these things, going to grad school,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things. That's the time where you're supposed to be taking chances. So what if you just quit your job and you don't have health insurance for a minute, or you want
Ooh.
to travel the world? Like I have a breastie who traveled the world, and she was living in Brazil, got married, and then had to come to America to get treatment.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, this is when you're supposed to do those things, but imagine you're diagnosed at that time. So then imagine if you do have a lapse or you have lackluster health insurance, right? Because
Yes.
you're seemingly a healthy 23-year-old. So you've got the bronze plan. If you guys heard me on Black Cancer podcast, don't get that bronze plan. Don't get it. Do not mess with bronze. You don't. Every single month, they're going to pay you to pay them to pay you. So that's a mess. But if you've got this high deductible and your student loans and you're still looking for a job, like, imagine that stress. You
Mm.
can't get well that way.
No.
And so the AYA cancer community has the biggest like debt to income ratio, like when they're diagnosed. And
Yeah.
you've got like more inherent depression because you've got FOMO. And I know that's like not a clinical term, but all your friends are moving on. And when I think I don't know if I put this in the book or it was just a journal entry or diary entry for me, but the world keeps spinning.
You did. You put it in the book when you talked about being left behind, and that is on page 8 of her book, guys. It's different
But
if you
I'm
have
talking
it on
like
the Kindle.
childcare issues, right? Like really low, like a literal pandemic.
You went
Everything
through
is
it.
still happening. Like, this is crazy. And
Pandemic.
cancer is a full-time job. Full-time job.
Yeah.
So I had four full-time jobs. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I had a job and cancer. Like,
Mm.
in a pandemic, 4 full-time jobs.
And
That's
cancer
a lot.
is a full-time job to deal
Full.
with. You
Yeah.
never know what you're going to go through and how you're going to wake up. And you talk about that in your book, not knowing like what is tomorrow going to bring. And you had a couple of infections.
Yep.
I believe it was with your implant, right?
So it was with the expander. It was
The
right after 4th
expander.
of July.
Oh, I hated those.
Yep. See, it's a love hate, right? Because when you
Yeah.
get rid of them, it's like, what do you have to do to get rid of them? So it's like either you go flat, which some people definitely choose. That wasn't
Mhm.
what I had chosen, and I ended up still having to go flat on one side. So
Mhm.
yeah, I got a staph infection that was eventually ruled to have been caused by radiation and skin not having healed. So, like,
Mm.
skin not having healed from the mastectomy that we didn't know, because it was
Yeah.
underneath and inside. And radiation definitely contributed to that. She's a nasty witch.
Yeah.
And radiation is just a beast.
Mm.
And yeah, so it was about 6 weeks after I was finished with radiation. And yeah, like a huge staph infection. It got in my blood. Had to have emergency surgery to have the expander removed. I lost all the skin that the expander had expanded. I lost the expander and I had to go flat for 12 weeks. Then I had lat flap surgery. That's the
Me
latimus
too.
dorsi flap. Had that moved to
Moved it to
replace
the
the
front.
skin, and that didn't take. So then 10 days later, I had to have surgery to have that removed. But the
Oh.
muscle and the expander took. The skin
Mm.
did not take. So now on November 19th, I will have to have DIEP to replace that. And it will
Now
be
let me
surgery
tell
number
you,
5 in 8 months.
8 months.
5
8
surgeries in 8 months.
months. It's ridiculous. People think you only have the initial surgery. I think I'm at 7 or 8. I still have one more to go. And
Yeah.
the getting the latissimus flap, that wasn't easy because they're taking skin from your back. So
They're
that's
taking
another open muscle, all
muscle,
of that.
skin, veins,
Oh
fat.
my
You
goodness.
can't just move. This isn't implants with fat grafting. If you ever move skin, you have to move
Mhm.
veins. You have to move fat. You have to move
Mhm.
muscle. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I honestly thought, I was like, take all the skin you want. I have been eating cupcakes and Halloween candy since August 1st to assist you, sir. And he was
Yeah.
like, oh, no, no, no. You will
No.
be in the hospital. And now for this one, I'll be in the hospital for 4 days.
4 days. 4 days. And then We have to talk about you being able to pick up your son. Those things you miss out on, not being
Yeah,
able to pick
12,
up your
probably
kids.
like 12 weeks. I won't be able to
Yeah.
pick him up because he's like almost 40 pounds. Well, he's like almost
Oh,
30 pounds, but yeah,
he's such a cutie. He is such a
he's getting
cutie.
into everything just like he should be at 2.5. He's amazing.
Oh
He's
man, my girls are only 5, and first I was like, I can't wait for them to crawl. I can't wait for them to walk. I can't wait for them to talk. And now I'm like,
I will take all
zip
that back.
it.
Let's go back.
Let's put it in your pocket.
I know that, like, my friends have told me, and now I know this is how I'll be too. But like, God willing, we have other children. She
Hmm.
said with number two and number three, they started walking. She pushed them down. She's like, "Sit down. I can wait. I can wait.
Don't start nothing. Don't
Don't do
start
it.
nothing.
Don't
Won't
do
be
it.
nothing.
Just we'll talk at a year. You tell me what you want to do at your first birthday."
Guys, if you have any questions for Miss Lauren, please put it in the comment section. We'll definitely answer that. Like I told you, I'm a fan. So I'm fangirling over here. Like,
Well, right
you
back at
know,
you. I've
I
loved our conversations.
yes, and you talked about the cancer community and how you will, put something on social media and guess what? Someone would answer you.
Mm-hmm.
Give you the answer you need because your friends don't know what you're going through. They have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Luckily, my husband's cousin is a nurse. She came down for one of my surgeries, and I didn't have to worry about her looking at me a certain type of way because
Yeah.
you don't have the energy. She sees it all the
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
Even though we're connected, like your friend who's a doctor,
Yeah.
she, that Google doctor will get you in trouble.
Whew. Yes.
You go
I'm
down a
glad
rabbit
I
hole.
didn't go. I am so surprised at myself. I am usually a Googler. And after I was diagnosed, my husband started Googling, and he did tell me, he was like, "Lauren, like it could be DCIS, like it could be stage 0." I'm like, "Oh, okay." That's like the only thing that got us through like those 3 days, right? Then when I was originally diagnosed, I was diagnosed at stage 1.
Oh.
And because I hadn't had any testing, the only thing I had was that biopsy. And the one of the reasons for me even going and getting the mammogram was because I just had that pain in my armpit. And so that first doctor, just the way she presented it was just completely unnecessary. But, she said, "I'm going to tell you right now, with that pain in your armpit, I can probably stage you right now." And again, just the way that she said that, I didn't really appreciate. But,
Mm,
with that lymph node involvement, it was either going to be 2 or 3.
yeah.
And so, I mean, she also just threw some metastatic talk in there. And it's like, you can't do that on the first day. Get the test, get the results, and then let's have a conversation.
Thank you,
Um,
Donna Marie.
yeah,
She's
that's so
awesome.
sweet.
She is going through right now, and she was on my show a couple of shows ago, and
Oh,
she's
really?
young with 4
Well,
kids,
Donna,
twins.
please reach out to me if you
Yes.
ever want to talk. DM me. I do not check my Facebook as much as I should. I'm gonna try to get on that, but Instagram, I'm on like 100 times a day. So please DM me. I will definitely answer back and like we should talk.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
but
'Cause
yeah, it's just, with that lymph node. So, I didn't Google anything.
mhm,
But after I was done, right? Like when I got heavy into writing the book, I got really heavy into writing the book while I was out of work, right? So when I had left for short term. So it was after I was pretty much healed from the mastectomy and before I started radiation was when I pretty much like assembled all my journal entries and my notes and like all the things I had written out, like either hard copy or my phone or things like that. So,
mhm.
um, yeah, I didn't Google until then, which I'm glad. Like, it's just
Yeah.
because then I was able to write from like my experience and I try to put that disclaimer in there, right? Like, this is me. I am not a doctor by any means. I don't think any board would ever certify me, even though at this point, like, I probably know quite a bit. Um, I joke around with my plastic surgeon all the time because there's people in there for reconstruction and then there's
Yeah.
people in there for plastic surgery, and just the questions that they ask and the things that are kind of like off the cuff and just kind of
Yeah.
like untoward. I'm like, "Do you want me to be your anger translator?" And he said, "Oh my god, yes, I would love that." I was like, "You need that," because he's such a sweet and gentle guy, and I'm like, "I will do that for you," because I heard her out in the lobby,
Uh-huh.
and we're not doing that today. That's what we're not gonna do. That's what we're not gonna do.
I
But
used to tell people, I've been trying to give away this butt whooping because I can't beat cancer.
yeah,
So,
I got
so
time today. I
I don't
got
have
all
time.
the time
I
today.
can't physically like punch it in the face, right? And in your book, you talk about one of your doctors talk about, it's like being punched in the face.
Yeah,
And I love how you addressed it. Go ahead and tell us what you said to that doctor. Said it's like being punched in the face.
yeah. Like he was like, "Oh, it's just like a little punch in the face." I'm like, "Have you ever been punched in the face?" He's like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, it would be like getting punched in the breast." I'm like, "Have you ever been told you have dense breasts? Have you ever been punched about or around the breast area?"
Hmm.
He was like, "No." I was like, "Then don't use that again." Like, I
Yeah.
mean, the thing, and I want anyone who's never been diagnosed, never had mammogram, never had a biopsy, like, please don't be afraid. It's not anything like the gut punch that it is for them to tell you you have cancer. So,
Hmm.
with all this that's been going on in the last month, I've heard some things that I like that I will take with me, right?
Okay.
So it's a really, really crappy and harsh truth that we don't have a cure for breast cancer yet. They are working on it. I've seen and heard some amazing things that I'm actually really excited about. Really,
Hmm.
really excited about for the future. Because I'm never finished with this journey. This is lifelong. But the one thing that I did hear was that, they can't cure it, but what you can do and what you are doing with these self exams and mammograms and ultrasounds and knowing about your body and knowing that you have dense breasts and requesting the appropriate accommodations that are inherent rights as human rights,
Hmm.
is that what you're doing is making sure that you catch it as early as possible, because the earlier you catch it, the more treatable it is,
Hmm.
curable. So, don't be afraid. I've put this out there and I will again. If you live anywhere near me and you want me to go to a mammogram with you, I will go with you. If
Yes.
you if I don't live near you, then we will FaceTime. We will both go to a liquor store. We will buy one mini bottle. We will not drink it before we drive. We will get to the hospital. We will sit in the parking lot. We will rip that one shot, whatever your poison may be, and then get that liquid courage and go get your mammogram. Also,
Yes.
if your insurance tells you that they're not going to cover a mammogram, two things you do from there. Which number one, you should always get your GP or your OB to prescribe it for you, because that inherently already tells the insurance that you've been vetted, right? That you have a
Hmm.
family history, that a medical professional has already heard your reasoning for why you want to be seen and why you want to be screened, and that might streamline that process. But if you already get that referral and that is kicked back, two things. Number one, see what the cash price is. The cash price might be discounted.
Yes.
My mammogram before insurance was $300. That's a grip to come up off of, like, man, I don't want to do
Yeah.
this. Like, for something you already don't want to do. But if you're paying cash, they might have like a 50% discount, because like, not to have to use the insurance codes and the bills and all this other crap, they might just say $100. And then that's
Yeah.
what you get to do for like the next year, 18 months, for that peace of mind, to know that you are healthy, to know what's going on inside. Number two, see if they will cover an ultrasound. The
Mm.
younger you are, the more dense your breasts are going to be. An ultrasound is going to be needed at the end of the day if you are young or if you have dense breasts, in addition to that mammogram anyway, because a mammogram can give a false positive. I'm not here to say mammograms are the end all be all, but they
Yes.
are the first step, or one of the first steps, in getting a picture that you need to complete your picture of health.
You need a
So,
baseline.
a baseline. Mammograms are a lot less expensive. They have the ultrasound are a lot less expensive, and they have those machines at almost every single doctor office. If you go to an orthopedic surgeon, if you go to an OB, they got to check on the baby. They have to check on your heart. If you go to a cardiologist, if you go to a GP, if you go to a DO, any of these things, they most likely will have one there. and they can look at, whoever certified can look at your breast, or at least take those pictures and
Mm-hmm.
get that sent off for those films to be looked at. So those are three things that you can do to ensure that you can get the screening that you desire.
And you talk about in your book, there's two things that you don't want to do is being told you have cancer, and number one, waking up dead.
Waking up dead. No. My grandma used to say that all the time, and it's like one of my favorite things to say. But yeah, you don't want to wake up dead. You don't want to wait too late. We only get one ride on this rock. You only get
Yeah.
one, and you need to do it whatever way you want to do it, and the best way to do it is in the best possible health you can be. As
Yes.
Black people, sometimes we already start way behind the finish line in
Hmm.
so many ways. So we need to make this as equitable as possible, and we need to take care of ourselves and advocate for ourselves.
We sure do. Now, I want you to find something in your book that you can read to us. What is one of your favorite?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't
Right.
know. There's so much. There's so much that. Okay, I'll read. Eh, that's
There
enough.
is
Oh,
so
okay, I
much.
know. I like the beginning.
I know where you're going. I got it highlighted. I know.
Do you? I don't think I told you.
No, but great minds think alike. Let's see
Yeah,
if I
let's
have
see
it
here.
highlighted.
Oh yeah, okay, this is it. All right,
I'm ready.
you ready? What page are you on?
I have page 8 and 9 marked, and then um,
Already
where's the
wrong.
one with the letter for? What page is it?
Number
Is it?
4.
It. Wait a minute. Wait
This
a
is just
minute.
funny to me.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I started my new job at a new company in a new industry when my son was just 4.5 months old. I had a slight battle with postpartum anxiety, but there was just a lot going on at the time. I will never forget the day I signed up for benefits at my new job. I had started and it was extensive. I was hungry, so I put a pin in signing up and went downstairs for lunch. I had never worked at a company that had multiple floors. I often took the stairs for a little extra exercise. I was on the last half flight of stairs and blew out my flip flop. I fell down the stairs. I was shocked. I was embarrassed and instantly needed to make sure I had not seriously injured myself.
Mhm.
Thank God no one was around. I hobbled to the cafe. I'm laughing because I'm like literally holding my shin. I'm like hobbling. And I'm like, maybe if I played up, they'll give me free lunch. I don't know.
Because when a flip flop goes, it
Ugh.
goes.
I mean, I no, like at this point, I left them in the stairwell and I'm like barefoot walking in the cafe. It's a mess. Because if you just have one, somebody's gonna notice that. If you're barefoot, like at least they both look the same, and like maybe they won't notice that first. This is my life, y'all. I hobbled to the cafe, got my lunch, and hoofed it back up to my desk. While eating my lunch, I finished signing up for benefits. One of the insurance add-ons was critical illness indemnity. The example they used was a broken leg and lost wages due to that. Having just had my life flash before my eyes and nearly broken my neck and leg, I instantly signed up. Think about that during your next open enrollment. You never know what lies around the corner. Just make sure it makes sense financially for you. As time went by, things were just normal, like you want. No news is good news. But as the adage goes, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
I had that one marked, but I actually, when I was stalking you, you talked about it on one of the podcast shows or one
Yeah,
of the Instagram lives, and I was like,
yeah.
yes, yes, it is so true. Make a plan. You'll make them laugh.
Make a plan. I mean, I did a reel on that too. It's like make the plan, follow the plan goes off the rails, throw out the plan.
Well, before you read another one, and I hope you do, we're gonna go ahead and give away our first book giveaway for everyone that has put hashtag type A guide to cancer. So let's see. What do we have here? Let's see who's all put it in. I want to thank Donna Marie, Erica, everybody for coming on. I try to look because it's YouTube and Facebook and there's too many things to
That's a
look at.
lot going on. Oh my
It's a
god.
lot going on, but hey, we have to definitely spread the word about it. So I actually have two computers going on right now. Let's see what we're working with over there. Type A Guide to Cancer. Who will get this first book? That's sold out, mind you, at Target.
At
And it
Target.
took me a whole week to get my hard copy book. I was gonna have to call you and say, "Girl, I'm gonna have to meet you halfway so I can get a book." But I already read it on can't.
Oh, meet you in Florence.
Let's see who we have here. Yes, Miss
Africa
Erica
or
Lee
Erica.
Mack. So you remember when I talked about the nurse, my cousin's my husband's cousin, she
Yeah.
actually works on a chemo floor
Oh
and
wow.
she meets a lot of cancer patients that will
Yeah,
need something like this. And
for
she
sure.
actually was the one that was walking with me during the walk when they asked, "Oh, are you the mother?" Like, nah,
Yeah.
she is. But having her working on that floor, having a good understanding about what people are going through, and she has the best bedside manner because like your doctor told you, like my doctor said, you have cancer, you didn't know, like what, tell me how I would know. I didn't have
Right?
a lump, I just came in. I'm
I
only
did not have a
36.
lump. I did not have a lump.
Calcifications.
Calcifications.
Yeah, and it was.
And see, that's another reason too, right? It was important for me to share my story because everything was so uncharacteristic of the things that they share. I'm young, I'm black, I have no family history that they're counting. Did not have a lump. You know what I mean? I'm a mother, I breastfed. They're like, "Oh, if you breastfeed, you have a smaller, you
Mhm.
decrease your chances of breastfed." Oh, super producer, all the things. I worked out 6 days a week. All these things. I eat healthy. I was actually on keto for 3.5 years, right? And some
What?
people will argue though it's not that healthy, but
I've
whatever.
done I've,
I
I've,
picked
I've
something,
done
I stuck
keto.
with it. I like it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like cheese and bacon. Why not? I know that's an oversimplification, but yes, um, so yeah, but I was healthy, living a very healthy lifestyle, had, just had a baby, all these things, and I was being hyper monitored, right? Like having a baby, having a very young son, and all these things, and so it was just such a shock. It was
Mm,
such a shock, and I just want to let people know that you don't have to have a lump to have cancer.
and
You don't have to be 60 to have cancer. And when
mhm.
you do get cancer, another thing, some of the pictures in the book or a photo shoot I took after my fourth cycle of chemo. I mean, my fingernails were falling off, but my
Yeah.
toenails were falling off. My fingernails never fully fell off, but they were all black.
Mhm.
I kept them painted, but
Yes.
you never know what a cancer patient looks like. You don't know, you
Mm,
can't assume. Just like someone assumed something terrible about your children that they weren't yours. It's just you can't assume, and we all need to be a little more sensitive. And I mean, I've learned during this process, right? Like it's something, I guess maybe it's just more inherently Southern where and I know everybody tells me I don't sound like I'm Southern and I don't like
mhm.
CT, but that's the only two things that aren't Southern about me. I never wear shoes. I say y'all way too much.
Mhm.
I love like liver and onions is like one of my favorite foods. But um yeah, it's just I you always ask people like, "Oh, are you having kids or when are you having more kids or what?" And that's one thing that I've definitely learned and
Mhm.
learned like how harmful and hurtful that can be. When it definitely there was no malicious intent. It's just kind of
Yeah.
something you ask, right? It's like, "Ugh, what segue am I going to use now?" Like, "Oh, you're married, great. When are you going to have kids?" Like, and so, I've learned where I can be more sensitive and things like that, and people just I just kind of wanted to share information. Like I didn't get pale. I never threw up.
Mhm.
I lost my hair immediately, but my eyebrows and eyelashes didn't fall out until I was finished with chemo and now they never came back. Like I
Yeah.
still have the hair loss I had from like postpartum hair loss and like it's still not really growing back, and it is what it is. Like, so I just, I just need to be transparent because I've never heard these things come from anyone else, and anyone who is sharing those things, like, I would love to connect with you. But yeah, I just feel like we need to representation really matters. And
Because
that's
when
what
I
it
was
boils down to.
diagnosed at 36, I did not have that. I finally found the Young Survivor Coalition and the Sisters Network, but I must say, the Young Survivor Coalition, I was able to see people in my age group. um and they were going out and whitewater rafting, and we were doing all these things that I still wanted to do. And I was young. I was like just married, engaged, on the table for all, and then all of a sudden, 16 days, you're a caregiver and I'm a patient. And in your book, you talk about questions to ask your caregiver. Like, is it your husband? Are you I told my husband, it's a different type of thing when you have to take care of someone, when you first take those bandages off, and I learned through a couple of surgeries that there's some really nice things that hang your drains on, because before I didn't know about that. So you
Yeah.
talking about it and giving this information, this true guide to
Yeah.
cancer, where you can actually journal in it. Live Strong. I had no idea that Live Strong was going to actually pay for fertility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
learned that, like, it was wild. Again, God, my grandma, like, these things they do just happen. They happened, but they don't just
yeah.
happen. And you
Mhm.
gotta be
Mhm.
open. You have to be receptive. But, there's always an argument over the TV, right? Like,
Mm.
what are we gonna watch tonight? And so it was like right around where that Michael, because we're all stuck at home because of COVID.
Yeah.
And it was a heavy DVR situation, right? Because COVID hit in March and we're in April. So just
Yeah.
5 months in, we're still wiping down groceries with Clorox wipes and fighting over Lysol and stabbing people over Popeye's chicken sandwiches, right? That's the point of the pandemic we're in. And also, my husband's like, "You're gonna write about the pandemic?" I'm like, "Posterity, bro. Like,
Yeah.
this book is timeless. Like, it's not like we're gonna put it out and it's gonna go away in a year. Like, I
Mhm.
understand people know the pandemic now, but it's all in perspective. Like, I had to do all of these things alone.
Mm.
But we were heavy on the DVR, and we were watching like a few, like 40 for 40 or 30 for 30s, whatever they're
30 for
called. But
30. I know
yeah.
which one you're talking about. Yep.
And so we watched the 82 part special for Michael Jordan. I think that was around that time. And then we watched another one like a week later, and it was the Lance Armstrong one. And I was like, I'll just
Mhm.
play Candy Crush like while we're watching it, whatever. Like, Lance is cool, but he cheated and like he did Cheryl wrong and whatever. And so and I was like, whatever. And so then they were talking about it, and we had a few friends going through IVF at the time. And I was like, oh, that's just really interesting. I think that's really sweet, right? Like, I love when people help people,
Yeah.
it's so many people's dreams to have a family. And like, we had a family. I'm like, everybody who wants one should have one. And I think that's
Yes.
fantastic. So I heard about the Live Strong Foundation and what they were doing. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then like a month later, I'm diagnosed, and I was like, okay, well, we probably won't qualify, but I'm just gonna do it. Like, so I
Yeah.
sent in the paperwork, and someone called me in an hour. Like, maybe not even an hour. Like, they are on it. And they're like, well, do you think you know where you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I want to go to this clinic. They're like, cool, that's one of the two we partner with in Charleston. I was like, great. Okay. And she was like, okay, well, if you just get your tax returns over, I was like, sure, I'll send it. So I
Mhm.
sent it, and in like 30 minutes, I had the approval letter. Like, they don't play around. It is streamlined. They're organized. It was amazing. And then
Yeah.
that was the whole gateway to all the grants. And again, like, that's part of my job. I work in software, but I work in like corporate social responsibility, and I
Mhm.
help businesses empower their employees to like apply for grants on behalf of nonprofits. And again, that was my business life. Like, that I was
Yeah.
not equating that to my life. And also, I don't I'm not a student. Why would I get a grant? I'm not a professor. I'm not a research analyst. Why would I get a grant? And so, like that it's such a nomenclature, like the term grant, like, you just think
Mhm.
of it in such a huge way. And it's really, you know I just think it's a barrier to entry. Like, I don't think people should be afraid of it. It's just like a mammogram. It's just like routine screenings. Great.
Yeah.
They are there to support us. They're there to subsidize and fill in that income you're losing while you're out on short term. Or upwards of 30% of women will lose their job when they're diagnosed because cancer is a full-time job.
It
Again,
is.
I'm blessed beyond measure that I had a very, very, very flexible job, again, in corporate social responsibility. And one of the laws of corporate social responsibility is your human equity and taking care of your people who take care of your
Yes.
customers. So I, again, blessed beyond measure. And I just wanted to share that message. Like, these nonprofit organizations, it's all cyclical. If they don't fulfill enough grants or give away enough money, it's just like a budget. If you don't use it, it's exactly a budget. If you don't use it all up, it doesn't get increased for next year. So when they don't help a certain amount of people, they don't get to help more people next year. And
Yeah.
they give this money away. Like, I remember, like, I got awarded a few grants and they were like, "Do you know anyone else who needs a grant?" And I was like, "What?" They're like, "Do you know anybody else who wants money?" And I'm like, "Everybody wants money." And so then that's why I started talking about it. And I was the only one in about 40 breasties that I pulled. I mean, at the time, I think I had like 250 followers, and I asked like 40 women, and they're like, "No, I didn't get any grants. What are you talking about?"
I didn't know about the grants. And Live Strong, I used their program for their workout program, which was
Yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
But someone called me and asked me, Regina, do you know how you can pay for IVF? Everybody knows that they don't know that it's a la carte, right?
Oh, I didn't
Oh,
either. I
starts
learned
at
so much along the way
15,000.
that I felt like I needed to save people, because that was just like gut punch, gut punch, gut punch.
Yeah,
Because when they tell you like it's gonna be this much, you're like, okay,
not
shake it on the
bad.
chin. That's not
12.
bad. They're like, that's part one. That's part one. Like, it's
Yeah,
so many parts. So yeah,
yeah. It
I
could
did
go
not know
be
that.
upwards of $20,000. And
Yeah.
you're still going through cancer. And there's a short window that you can do it in because
Very
that
short.
port is in and now chemo is starting or
Yep.
surgery. And
And you have
so,
to make that decision, right? They're like,
mm-hmm,
"Do you want to wait? Do you want to push it back? Why are you putting this on me? You're the
mm-hmm.
doctor. I need for you to tell me if I can push it back. Like, I can't make that decision. I can no longer, I got cancer. I
Yeah.
can no longer be in charge of my decisions. Apparently, this is my fault. I can't make any more decisions. I asked every single doctor, even the one I fired. She didn't know she was fired yet. I called her back. I put that in the book. I called her back and I was like, "Do I have time to do IVF?" And she was like, "Yes, you have time.
Oh,
One
wow.
week, 2 weeks is not going to make the
A
difference
difference.
for you." And I was like, "Thanks, you're fired." Click.
Mic drop.
You should have been nicer to me. Should have been nicer to me.
But it's so true. You don't know what's around that corner if you're going to be hospitalized. The shot that you have, well, now it's not even a shot; it's a patch that you get. That
Ugh.
I don't know is
It's a
about ten.
patch with a shot in it. That you talking
With
about Neulasta?
yeah, like my husband had like the best insurance, and I had the
Mm.
bronze insurance.
Get away from that bronze. Mm-mm.
When we and now it's like they were like, oh, okay, this shot was what $17,000. That'll be $10 copay. Say what
Right?
now? So think
Right?
about the people who don't have it. So there are grants that will pay for it. You have to go to that resource center, and in the back of your book, you give so many resources
Yeah.
that young survivors or any survivor or thriver. Actually, one of the ladies that I met at the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, the one that I said that was so excited, and she's on, and I'm gonna mess up her name. I know I am, Ajani. Um, she is young, beautiful. Her parents were out there cheering her on. I was talking on the mic, and she came up to me a little bit later, and I was like, "Okay, I have someone I need you to connect with." And she's coming on tonight. And she's a young survivor, thriver, perfect personality for you to walk you through this. Because
Oh,
being 30, being
yeah.
like you're in that thing, you're not a child and you're not 55.
No longer a child, not yet a woman.
That needs
It's
to
a
be your
hard
next book.
spot. It's such a hard spot because and inherently so, but you're just in such a different mind place. Such a different place in your mind. I mean, I've connected with women that are 55, that are 60, I love that they're on Instagram. I think it's so cute.
Mhm.
But they're like, I have my children.
Mhm.
I'm not doing reconstruction because I don't have to. I've been married for 40 years. Okay,
Mhm.
bye. Like, you know what I mean? And they're like, you all have so many more things on your plate. Thinking about children, thinking about more children, thinking about reconstruction. I have some breasties that are in their 40s and they're single, and
Mhm.
they have to think about dating after this.
Yes.
That is terrifying. And then you've got to take someone you don't even know, if you know them, their feelings and their preferences into consideration, or you rock with
Mhm.
yourself and you just ride for you. And then that's how it should be. But everybody says that, but that's way easier said than done.
Yes.
So yeah, to be diagnosed as an AYA, there's so many things. There's so many things. So many, so different things. I won't say more, but just so many different things you have to consider with this diagnosis when you're diagnosed as AYA.
Oh, yes, yes. And she is so glad to have met me. Oh, well, thank you. And glad to have a chance to connect with other young survivors. The Young Survivor Network is a good one. And you have so many like things in your book that she can look at. Oh, yeah, you do have a picture of, yeah, right there.
Yeah,
I didn't have
that
that.
is a
Mine
beast.
was delivered to the house in a cold box with ice.
Ooh, I mean, between that and the Zoladex, I
Oh my
mean, I was just
goodness.
a pin cushion, just a pin cushion.
It was so beautiful.
And that
So
was,
beautiful.
and I think I talk about it again. I just don't know like
Mhm.
what got cut.
Yeah.
um I mean, I've read the book 20 times. My mom's probably
Mhm.
read it 10 times, but again, I just don't know what's been cut because it's in my head, and those are
Yeah.
my experiences. But yeah, my husband shaving my head.
Mhm.
um that
Yeah.
photo shoot, I literally was wiping my bloody nose. Like, my nose bled for 3 months straight. I was wiping my bloody nose. We had to stop for a bathroom break. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Just all the things. And again, it's like, you do not know what what someone going through treatment looks like. Everybody looks totally different. And also, you don't know what they're having to do to maintain the facade, right?
Yes. It is
Never
so
know.
hard. And
You
my
never know.
producer is telling me that we have a second winner here. And I know I'm taking you a little bit over the hour, but I'm so happy that you
I
are
don't have anywhere
on.
to be. I don't have anywhere to be.
I heard
I'm
the
totally
kids
fine.
go in their room, so I'm good. They're dead.
Yeah,
I'm good. So let's
my
see.
little
Let's
one's
run
already in
this
bed.
again. Oh yes, Miss Donna Marie. I am so excited.
Yay!
I was gonna send that to you if you didn't win tonight, because you and I'm also gonna send it to the lovely lady that I met at the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, because it is so important. Now, is there one more thing you can read out this book?
Do you
Anything?
Okay, so I feel like I want to read page 58. Is that one?
Okay.
Because I want to, if you have something you really want me to read, I want to read it for you.
No, chemo, yeah. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Okay. So I'll read both the pages.
Okay.
I talk fast, so it shouldn't be too long.
Mhm.
The first day of chemo is like the first day of school. You do not know how things work. The staff is so friendly, but the patients don't recognize you, and you do not know whom to talk to. Also, you're one of few people there with hair. They know you're a newbie. They can smell it on you. I felt so prepared. I had my chemo shirt, which Trey bought for me. It unzips on both sides and the front of your shoulders, so it doesn't matter which side your port has been placed on. It is very convenient for the nurses to access your port. It is one of the most thoughtful gifts that I received. The first day of chemo was full of emotions, and I was on a learning curve. Before you begin chemo, you have chemo school. Chemo school is a bit overwhelming and shocking. They tell you what will and can happen and who to call in what instance. They tell you about side effects that you will and can have and what has happened to others. Chemo school is just like any other school or training. They give you the information, but there are things they gloss over or forget. They definitely did not go over the diarrhea part. I had my chemo infusions at the Hematology and Oncology Center, not at the hospital. I liked that better personally. I think that helped with my anxiety towards treatment. as I did not have to go to a large, confusing, overwhelming hospital. I get my blood drawn through my port and then they flush my port. As a side note, I had a double port. It was recommended for me, and that was what was written up for me to have implanted during my surgery. I did not know anything about that at the time. I was glad to have a double port. If one side is not clear, then you have another option. To flush a clogged port takes a lot, around another hour. I get to see my doctor while we wait on the blood results to see if I'm healthy enough to get the drugs. My chemo sessions are around 8 hours long, and because of the pandemic, you're not allowed to have visitors in the chemo suite. The day went by quickly. I was recovering from the egg retrieval the day before, and they give you Benadryl with your chemo cocktail, so you sleep a lot. It was relaxing, everyone was accommodating, and then the day was gone. You do not feel the effects of the drugs right off because they also give you steroids intravenously too. At the end of the first day, I also got my first Zoladex shot, and they put my Neulasta shot on my arm. Zoladex is very similar to Lupron, but there was a Lupron shortage, so I was prescribed Zoladex. These are ovary suppressing drugs that protect your ovaries from chemo as they enter you into a medically induced menopause.
Mm, mm. I remember that Lupron. I used to have the Lupron, and one nurse hit me in the hip, like
Oh,
because it's got to go in the muscle,
mm,
and I went down. And after, like, I went down on the floor on the ground. And
I'm
again,
down.
remember, I've been trying to pass this butt whooping out for a minute. I had to actually call and said, please do not have that nurse anywhere around me ever. I know I still got all
Oh,
these rounds to go. She can't come near me. But that
bro.
Lupron shot, on top of that, I was down for the count. And the fact that you talked about two ports, I had a clogged port one time. I didn't know it was an option to have two ports
Me
because
either.
they're like, it's Drano. Like,
Yeah.
we got to put Drano in it to clear it, and you can't get treatment.
Nope. Not until.
Yeah.
Do you ever, I don't know if you, what you've had to go back for when they get your blood,
Mhm.
but when they give you a saline shot, can you taste it?
Oh yes,
I don't
yes.
hate it. I don't hate it.
It tastes like a penny to me, like copper.
It mentally, it's the day I got to actively kill the chemo or the
Oh
actively kill the cancer, right?
yeah,
So like
yeah.
the first thing you ever get is that saline.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
my very first sensory memory.
Oh wow.
So whenever I get it, I'm like, Superwoman.
Yeah,
There,
I'm doing it.
it's
Yeah.
done. That Lupron though, let me tell you,
Mm.
these nurses were amazing. I have not met one nurse I haven't liked at from oncology, maybe at my OB, but like
Yeah.
IVF, oncology, radiation, plastic surgeon,
Yeah.
reconstructive surgeon, every single nurse, A plus plus plus, incredible. Doing things I couldn't
Wow.
even fathom, being so empathetic, being so
Yeah.
sympathetic, I couldn't even imagine. But that is not to not say that when I went in there, they were like, "Oh, I've never done this,"
Yeah.
because they've never had a patient that needed to preserve their eggs. So they're
Yes.
like, none of the there was one nurse who had done it. So she trained like 3 people while we were there. And so each time I got it, it was like, this is my first time. And I don't know why, but I think it was because I had just done IVF that like, and honestly, needles don't bother me.
Yeah.
But when they would stick me that long,
Yeah.
thick needle, everybody, like the one nurse who had done it, she said like people were like crying and screaming and whatever, but they stuck me and I didn't even flinch. I was watching Real Housewives. I was like, all right, cool. That's what it is. And so then they were like, okay, can we like each month when you need it, can we like kind of train on you? I was like, what does it matter at this point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what is there to lose?
I've been poked, prodded, and everything else. I'm
What
telling
is there
you,
to
there are
lose?
some amazing nurses out there. Pick your team. Know who your team,
Yeah.
Be aware who's on your team, even from your healing village. I like how you said a healing village,
Mhm.
because you want to have positive people around you. You want the people to say, okay, you're acting a little stink today. Because I tried to pull the cancer card a couple of times.
Yep.
My husband was like, yeah, no, because he's
Yeah.
type A.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? I know you had chemo today. I know
Yeah.
you had got steroids. So you're good. I'm gonna need you to and and can't do it all
there
day every day.
Oh my goodness, guys, if you have any questions or comments, because I am holding her over just a little bit, but I want you to read the letter to your son, if
Oh,
you
okay.
don't mind.
Let's see. Where is that?
That is on page.
Because I
Starts
have
on
the
page
letter to
14.
14. Okay, because I had
Mhm.
the letter to the nurses. Like that's where I was like, oh wait, I see it.
Ooh,
Okay. Okay, so I'll read a little bit before it so there's a little bit of context.
yes.
Okay, and this is what we were talking about earlier. I did not know how I was going to get through the weekend before my appointment. I did not sleep well. I do not do well with unanswered questions. I woke up at 4 a.m. every day. I took that opportunity to clean and try to clear my head. And I started writing. The morning of the appointment was the first time I wrote anything, and I wrote a letter to my son. This is dated 9/10/20 at 4:35 a.m. I thought it was very important to put the time because I did not sleep. I probably got like 3 hours of sleep every single day for a year. And it says, a letter to my son. I got a mammogram to stay on top of my health. I do this for you, your father, and myself. The mammogram slash biopsy returned cancerous results. It turns out to be invasive ductal carcinoma. Today I'm going with your grandmother to get that looked at and see what stage my cancer is and get a treatment plan. I am scared. I am shocked. This is the unknown. Now it is 6 a.m., and it could be, and I am hoping, stage 0. While I am already exhausted mentally, I know I need to fight more and harder. For you, for us, for our family. I never thought I would be in this position. Well, especially not this early. I am 34 and you are just 18 months old. This is not fair to you. You deserve a healthy mother, a healthy family, one that can keep up with you, challenge you, have fun with you, a family that can give you the happiest childhood and the best life. So that's why I am doing this. Everything I do for you. Now, you are so many things, Chip, already so dynamic with a killer personality at just 18 months old. And I cannot wait to watch you grow up. So, in being as selfless as humanly possible, this has led to early detection. So, for that, I say thank you. I want to write this letter on the unknowing side of my diagnosis because the only thing that will not change after these appointments today will be my unwavering and undying love for you and your father. You have made my life worth living, and I am not finished. I do not know where I will find the strength to fight, but I must. Let us all send up prayers for a stage 0 diagnosis and keep this moving.
Mm. Oh my
And then there's a
goodness.
little picture of me and Chip.
Oh, you're so beautiful. Now I could chat this whole time and go on and on and on. But you are working on a second book
Yeah.
and it's coming out. I don't know when, but I can't wait to have you back on
Hopefully
the show.
next September. Yeah, hopefully next September. So we got
Next
to get
September.
we have to get these legs, and I mean, what a nice surprise to find out that it was sold out on Target before I came on today. But yeah, just really excited, really excited. Yeah, thank you for putting that up there. I do sell signed copies on my website, and then if you just want the information to get it out there, you can get it anywhere online. And it's coming to Barnes and Noble bookstores and Books a Million bookstores by the end of the year. Anywhere else, if y'all see it, tag me, let me know if you see the hard copies in the stores. That would be so exciting. But yeah, this journey's not over. And this is just, this is to help people in the first step.
Yeah.
right? That I sign off and I was just finished with radiation. I sign off before I even got the infection. And infections are really, really common. And
Mm-hmm.
again, with everything that I'm going through, it would just be for naught if I didn't share it. I
Yeah.
didn't know that 40% of women get infections after having radiation. I didn't
Had
know
no idea.
radiation was the number one cause for having more than 3 revision surgeries when things don't take. Not little tweaks to make you as comfortable as you can be with your new body and your reconstruction, but really to even have a breast to tweak. I'm still
Mm.
flat on one side and I have been since July 6th. And that was never in my treatment plan or my reconstruction plan. I was supposed to have my exchange surgery in July and my last immunotherapy in September. And I was going to coast into Breast Cancer Awareness Month and my birthday, just whole again and a new person and trying to start my new life. And now here I am staring down my fifth surgery, which I hope is the second to last, but
Mm-hmm.
having to pull out the big guns with that DIEP flap.
Yeah.
So I just want to, share the rest of my journey, paint the whole picture, still be as transparent and honest as I can with everyone. So again, no one feels alone. Um, again, this will be specific to my journey, and my cancer was not hormone receptive. So I don't, knock on, thank God,
Mm-hmm.
to God be all the glory, but I don't have tamoxifen for 5-10 years. I don't have hormone therapy. I got my last Zoladex shot in August. And so, it's continuing on with that IVF and seeing what shape my ovaries and my eggs are in. And it's still a lot of discovery after cancer. And so that's just what the next book will be. And I'm not done living it, so I haven't finished writing it, but I'm really excited to share this book and share the information in there, and then get this legs and get that moving, and share the rest of the journey, because life after cancer is a whoop, and it's been a doozy already. And I
Yeah. Don't
am
make any plans.
yeah, I am kind of reeling about this surgery. Today's over, so it's only 17 days away, and it's
Mm.
a tummy tuck mixed with a C-section. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't have a C-section, right? So I'm
Yeah.
speechless when it comes
Have
to it.
no
But
idea.
I'll find the words to recap it.
Yeah, and I can't wait to read your next book, but I would love to have you on again sometime soon.
Yeah,
Um,
this was a
because
blast.
there's a connection there.
Yes, it's because we're related.
Yeah, I know, right? Guys, please make sure you check out her book, Type A Guide to Cancer. You can find her on Instagram, Facebook. You say you're working on Facebook. I
It's
wish,
up there. I just need to work on like responding and getting on there. And all the stuff pushes from Instagram. So there's content on there, but
oh, there's
what
so much.
what I'm really really bad at is Twitter. I'm
I'm
really
so
bad at Twitter. I've
bad.
been trying to get better. I'm just
Uh,
really bad at
Well, I was bad with Instagram and Twitter. Only thing, because I have more people on Facebook, but I'm not about like how many likes or whatever. It's nice if you can share it, because I want, like you say, if I can help one person. If
Twitter.
my, after I got off that stage, on October 23rd, I had so many people come up to me, and I didn't even talk about Chemo Glow. Like, it was last minute. Hey, can you be the survivor speaker? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it again. Not a problem. But then I was like, can I get on the mic? Because we're just walking around, because we weren't able to get the permit to walk, to
Dang.
have the actual walk. They did it at 4 o'clock last minute. So we had a
Wow.
block party. So you
Nice.
need an MC for a block party. And guess what? I gave it to them.
Hot mic. Hot mic.
So
Can't keep
that's
you
what I
down.
did. And I was able to touch some people, and some of them are actually listening now. So I'm
I love
so
it.
happy. We're going to send these books out to you guys. I want to thank you, Lauren, for coming in. Is there anything else you would like to say to our audience, since I, held you over for 28 extra minutes?
Totally fine. My kid's asleep, so I'm here for it. I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank you for the support. I want to thank you for the community. And that's it. Like, I'm extremely grateful for everything that's happened and everything that will happen. And again, the community, like, we're all here for another. It takes a village, no matter what you're talking about. If you're raising a child, if you're a previver, survivor, thriver, it's for life. It's gonna take more than one person, and just find your people. Some people will leave, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't work for them, it definitely won't work for you. And like you were saying before, you cannot put that energy there. There's so little energy to go around while you're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And so just be there for each other. And if you need me, you know where to find me. I'm always there.
Yeah. She's all over Instagram. She's on everything. I mean, she's on
Everywhere.
everything. And again, they want to thank you for sharing your story. Great show. I've got a couple of texts over here talking about great show. I'm like, I'm still on the air. I'll call you later. They're like,
You would know if it was a great show. You would know I was on the air if you were watching. Thanks, telling me it was a great
thank you.
show.
And what's so funny, every time I do these lives, the next day is when they get picked up. The next day
Yeah.
is when, and I was like, you know what? I'm so happy for everybody that comes on, that shares, that likes, that subscribes, that watches it later, that tunes in for 2 minutes and say, hey, this is not for me. Guess what? Just share it with somebody who it's for. Because again, I met you because you were on Linkage Beauty Movement. I was like, oh, her personality is perfect, because we
That
were
is so
talking about the
sweet.
flip flop and the diarrhea, which we'll talk about later. Because guys, it's real. Chemo.
Look, my mom signed off on it, so I'll talk about diarrhea all day. Like, that's why I gave the book to my mom and my husband, and those are two reserved people. And if they said it was okay, I will talk about it. People need to know. I thought you got chemo, you threw up. I'm grateful that I didn't, because I've got horrible acid reflux. But
Hmm.
like, I don't think I wanted that. Like, I don't know. I don't think I know what I signed up for.
Well, Miss Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. If you could just stay backstage while I sign off here. This has been a great show, guys. Thank you for showing my guests so much love. I mean, so much love. And just remember that I was like low and glow and love, trying to put them all in one. You see, my hair has gotten bigger since we talked because, Chemo Glow, those lovely
Right.
hot flashes. I'll start off one way and I'll be a chia pet or a gremlin at the end. So you guys should be used to it by now. All right. But thank you again, guys. I appreciate you. See you next Wednesday, when we'll be here Wednesday at 8 o'clock with Rod and Matt from CBS 17 and from FM radio. So, guys, I really do thank you. See you next time. The glow doesn't define me, I define the glow.